Hello everybody, welcome back to One Man's Journey. It has been a long time since I've made a video. Lots been going on, so I just haven't felt the energy to do one, but then I realized, it's probably the best time to do a video is if things are kind of a little busy, or maybe it doesn't feel like the best time to do a video, and that might be the best time to do a video because I guess it's more real and authentic than trying to plan for a video, which I actually didn't really do. I just decided I was out on my walk this morning and felt like it's been a long time. I should maybe film another one and see where this goes. So lately I've been doing a lot of kind of mental activity. Decided to try to see about creating an online course, an online English course, because I'm a one-on-one online English teacher, and that's getting to be a bit tiring. I've been doing it for a while, and the one-on-one thing is nice, meeting really wonderful people, but it's just it's some energy to do that every day. So I've always had something in me that's wanted to kind of create something on its own and have a more entrepreneurial kind of energy around it, and that's always just been something that I think has always been kind of a small dream of mine to do. So I've just kind of decided to walk down that path and see where it leads me, but at the same time, not getting super caught up in it as well, and that's a great energy to have, when you're just in it. And I know that many times if you're absolutely passionate about something, it's all you do, it's all you think about, live, breathe, eat it all the time. And I don't quite feel that about this. I feel like it's a good idea. I can leverage my experience with English. And so that motivational energy is a little bit more reasonable rather than passionate. And so I can find myself, working on things and finding my energy kind of depleting rather quickly in some ways, and other times it just keeps going. And so I'm just kind of learning how to navigate that right now. But in the same token, I also have this habit of being stuck in my mind and just get caught in what I would call the conveyor belt of thinking and the mental activity. And I realized that kind of takes me away from my heart, from being here now, which is the theme of my first video. And so that's always constantly in my field about what does it mean to be rather than to do. And so I know that I've kind of struggled with that whole idea, and I know a lot of men have that as well, and women for sure, maybe the more masculinized energies inside of themselves. So I've just been kind of with that over the past few weeks of learning how to balance these energies out and really trying to do what I can to stay in my heart, and to also feel like what is my soul guiding me to do as well. And I think it's always been sort of this up and down kind of roller coaster for me as well, around what is leading me. Is it my mind leading me? Is it my soul, heart? What is it that is drawing me forth and really kind of making decisions on some ways and making my choices, and where's the energy coming from? And I know over time that I have this capacity to, be mental and to actually have generative energy and to work really hard at something and kind of get lost in it sometimes. But then also, if it's not fully in my passion, then I get burnt out. And so then that happens. And then I'm kind of like back at square one again, or at least it feels like square one, when I realize there's always something that we're learning through all of our experiences. So it's never really back to a beginning. It's just a new kind of plateau, maybe another direction, a foyer to another room, another transition to another chapter. So yeah, so it's kind of like just every day doing what I can to be in a state of feeling myself, going out on these walks every morning. I do some meditations and journaling, and even the journaling can get obviously a little mentalized, and I can just keep going around all that and not really come to some sort of conclusion. And I know that a part of me loves to come to some solution or conclusion around something. It's like, I got it, I figured it out. And I don't know if there's ever really a figuring out per se. I think there's coming to some understandings and realizations, and then, seeing where life takes us from there. I think there's always been a part of me that was always hoping for some sort of like, lightning thought of something, some clarity, and it's like, this is it. And I think I'm being guided to just learn to trust, learn to feel my intuition from a different place, from inside of my heart, from inside of my gut, listen to my body, and just to keep making those decisions from there. And those decisions may be, quote, wrong. At some point, maybe I'll look back on saying, yeah, that probably wasn't the right decision, but I have to learn to trust that all my choices are being given to me, or I'm making these choices and they're leading me someplace and they're teaching me something. And so not to really judge my choices, but to sit with what feels right for me inside of me and let that sort of kind of show me something new. And because I think I've always just made decisions that have come from somewhere else. And it's hard sometimes for me to know whether the ideas or the choices coming from authentically me, or they've come from outside of me, meaning someone else, a society, generational thinking, consciousness, so that's kind of an interesting path to walk. And I don't think we can know exactly which thread is specifically ours until we start making choices, and seeing where they lead, follow those threads, and maybe realize, oh, okay, that was probably more from this line of thinking or this way of being, kind of this attachment to this kind of consciousness. And they're like, okay, well, that's interesting. I learned that. And then, maybe there's some decisions I make that feel really hard in the moment, and they go cross grain to what I'm used to doing. And those could prove to be valuable and insightful. And something great comes from it, or I learned that probably didn't work out. And I learned something new about what is me and what is not me. So it's really kind of this path of just trying to find and feel, I should say, my true authenticity, and where am I coming from as a heart and as a soul, man's heart, man's soul, and not necessarily just get stuck in my head around what I think is the right thing to do or what I should do. Or I think it's also about who can I be? What's the possibility here? Maybe I've been trying to think about who am I meant to be? What am I meant to do? And somehow that has some finality to it. And maybe the question is more about who can I be? What can I do? And just kind of see where the sort of amusement park of experience takes me from there. And I think opening up to that, what's possible, might lead me to something that feels like this is what I'm meant to do. And I'll know it when I get there. It'll just vibrate heavily in my body, deep in my soul. And I'll just know with this knowingness that's not come from anything rational or logical. It's just a vibration that comes inside of you. And I think right now I've just been in a process of trying to sort that out and learning about myself in all of these experiences and decisions, and learning to trust this sort of silent voice inside of me that I haven't listened to for a long time, if ever, and just seeing where that takes me. And that could be decisions or non-decisions as well. There's choices that we don't make are also choices. There's yeses and nos, and even I don't knows are all part of that co-creative process with the divine and our higher self. And where that leads is right now for me feels sort of an unknown, but I have an idea that I could place in the unknown, like creating an online English course, which, if you're coming from a spiritual point of view, that could seem like, how is that spiritual? And that, in anything, I think the whole spirituality thing is just like everything is spiritual. It's all work. It's all the way that we relate to things. It becomes our our spirituality. And I think there's something that I can learn from the process, even if I don't wind up doing it. If it never comes into manifestation or fruition, there's something that I will learn from the experience, whether I complete it, whether I stop at midstream, find something else just kind of arises in my field as a result of it, and then I go that direction. So it's just an interesting way to be, rather than on this directive path of this is what I'm going to do. And I know that it feels nice to have that knowledge, to have that clarity. And I know there are many people that have that, and this is what I'm going to do this life. This is what I'm here to do. And I haven't quite hit that yet. And I think sometimes I could just put a placeholder in there, see where that takes me. And then I think as I continue this process and this idea of just continuing to choose what's right for me, what feels right, what my needs are at any given day, that's going to continue to lead me step by step to where I am ultimately meant to be in my own personal geometry. And so it's exciting in one end, because you just don't know what's going to happen, and then also a little bit terrifying in some ways too, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen and how this whole thing is going to, end up. And really doing my best to not have any attachment or expectation to it, but trying my best to just be present to myself and, stay healthy for my body, keeping my head as self-loving and self-caring as I can, really being aware of my thoughts and where they're taking me, and if things seem a little bit heavy, really going into that, really feeling like, what is the judgment? What's the heaviness? Is there any depression, anxiety, fear? And really making way for more joy, for more curiosity, for more courage, and even clarity. And that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now, hence one man's journey. And so, yeah, I felt like that's kind of what's in my heart and in my head and the moment. So trying to blend the two as best as I can. And not the best, they're garbage. It happens. So anyway, well, thank you for being with me on my little morning walk and listening to me bramble through the brambles. And if any of this kind of resonates with you, and you have a particular experience with, the head versus the heart, and, maybe trying to find a purpose in your life and find directive and clarity, how you're navigating that, or the challenges of it, struggles with it, please feel free to drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you're going through. And also, if you enjoyed this and you would like to hear more, hopefully I'll try to keep this up every week, is what I promised last time. But you know what? Life just does what it does, and I kind of just flow with it. So please like and subscribe if you felt so drawn to do so. Thank you to those of you who have done so. I really appreciate it. And I will try again the next time Spirit moves me. And until then, God bless, and see you then.